Unmuted.
Hello, my name is Isabella Perez, Recreation Leader for the City of Socorro. Thank you for joining today's meeting. Before the meeting begins, we would like to remind our guests to remove all hats and silence all electronic devices. No destructive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to ejection and possible prosecution.
Hola, mi nombre es Judy Rodríguez, secretaria de Planificación de la Ciudad de Socorro. Gracias por participar en la reunión de hoy. Antes de que comience la reunión, nos gustaría recordarles a nuestros invitados favor de quitarse los sombreros y silenciar todos los dispositivos electrónicos. No se tolerará ningún comportamiento perturbador ni exabrupto y los infractores estarán sujetos a expulsión y posible procesamiento.
It is 6:03 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Item number 2, Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, led by Robert Rojas Elementary School students.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing for a minute of silence.
And now we'd like to congratulate and honor our student here. His name is Christian Solano. Would you please come up and receive the certificate from the City of Socorro and all of council? Thank you very much. Item number 3, establishment of quorum.
Ruben Reyes.
Here.
Cesar Nevares. Here. Alejandro Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Ivy Avalos.
Here.
Rudy Cruz. Present. And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, public comment.
Mayor, we have one speaker, Celso Ruiz. Mr. Ruiz, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Buenas tardes. Good evening, City Council and members of the public. My name is Celso Ruiz, and I will be speaking about code enforcement and the recent actions in our neighborhoods. I have been here for over 50 years at 10138 Drammen Way. I have watched our city grow by leaps and bounds. Our traffic is super busy on North Loop Drive when school is over and when our people come back from work. The recent Socorro code enforcement actions brings a distrust between our government and its citizens. At least it does with me. A simple notice that code enforcement would be out would have been much better received. Instead, I see it as an assault on our neighborhoods. Now we need to guard against code enforcement in front of our homes. I believe in keeping a city safe and healthy for its citizens, but I also believe we need services that trump code enforcement, such as safe streets to drive on. There are too many potholes and irregularities on our roads. Our city streetlights are lacking and too few in between. Our drainage on our streets is terrible and non-existent, especially in my old neighborhood. Our taxes are super high and have gone through the roof. But instead of offering us a good day, you greeted us that morning with a rude awakening and police action. And speaking of that, I want to know what authority is invested in the badge that they flash on their pant waist. Are they certified peace officers? Please answer this after I finish speaking or before this meeting is over. To code enforcement, I will say this. Do your job in the areas that you are lacking. Number one, in prime example, the illegal parking on the corner of North Loop and Stedham Circle. This corner has a no parking beyond this point sign that is always ignored. I used to complain to Chief Burton about this corner all the time. Ignorant people would park beyond the sign all the way to the corner, blocking the view of the fast-moving cars. This location has the Mariscos Culiacan and the dog grooming shop, and across the street is Papa's Burgers. This intersection is dangerous when the view of incoming cars is blocked by the cars and trucks that park there. As it is a very busy intersection on its own, and I imagine SUVs or trucks all the way to the edge of the corner are blocking the view of fast-moving cars. The next accident or fatality that is bound to happen at this intersection is now on the record. In conclusion, I believe the city needs a bus system way more than we need code enforcement. We need to prioritize which services we need or want. I don't need code enforcement as much as sometimes I need a bus system. Remember, this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Reese. Any other speakers?
No other speakers, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Reyes needs to stay on, or he'll be counted absent.
Can you speak that in the mic?
Mr. Reyes, we need to see you at all times, or we're going to have to count you absent.
He's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Is that the attorney?
Our attorney's not here.
Not yet.
Not yet.
If one doesn't preclude from continuing with the meeting, I think that we should count him absent for right now until he reappears.
Okay.
And now he's no longer on there, so he is now absent.
I'm sorry?
He no longer appears, so he is
Oh, okay.
absent.
Do you know when Jim will be here?
I don't have any indication.
Would you mind calling him, please? Because we can only go up to a certain point. We have presentation? What do you have? We can't do all of them, no. No, we don't have any other presentations. That's,
How long can we go? How long can we go without Mr.
it's up
You
to,
can go on, it's up to you, Council.
You want to announce that? You want to announce that?
I can hear you.
You want to announce that?
Give me 1 second. Did you see something? Okay, would you like to make that motion?
Yeah, sure. Mayor and Council, at this time I want to make a motion for a 5-minute recess. Second.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes. Unmuted.
It is 6:24 PM. We are back in regular session. Going on to regular agenda, public hearing and ordinances. Item number 11, public hearing of ordinance number 578, amendment number 3, amendment to increase revenue of $461,000 and decrease expenditures by $8,506 for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. It is 6:24 PM. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item? As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:24 PM. Second reading and adoption of ordinance 578, amendment number 3, amendment to increase revenue of $461,000 and decrease expenditures by $8,506 for fiscal year 2023 through 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Victor Perez, the Deputy City Manager for the City of Socorro. And before you, we have a place for your consideration, increasing the revenue up to $461,000. This is the fourth quarter increase, as well as a decrease in the budget expenditures of $8,506. And again, fourth quarter decrease.
Questions, comments?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 13, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning for Lot 12, Block 2, Grijalva Garden subdivision located at 793 Grijalva Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for a duplex. It is 6:26 PM. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item? As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:26 PM. Item number 14, second reading and adoption for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 12, Block 2, Grijalva Garden subdivision located at 793 Grijalva Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for a duplex.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Lorene Quimito, City Planner. Item number 14 for your consideration is a rezoning request of 793 Grijalva Drive. The legal description for the property is Lot 12, Block 2, Grijalva Gardens subdivision. Property owner and representatives, Francisco Delgado and Christopher Prieto. The property is 10,000 square feet in size, zoned R1 and currently vacant. The future land use map projects the area to be medium density residential. And in summary, the request is for approval of a rezoning from R1 to R2 to allow for a duplex. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the rezoning request. Planning and Zoning Commission voted for approval at their August 20th meeting. The property is located at the intersection of Grijalva Drive and Lupe Ana Lane. The property is, again, zoned R1. It has R1 residential, single-family residential zoning districts to the north, to the south, east, and west, and R2 medium-density residential to the north. These photographs were taken from Grijalva Drive. They show the vacant lot. You can also see the vacant lot in the aerial photograph. You can see residential development surrounding the property in the aerial as well. The future land use map designates the area as medium density residential. Just some additional information regarding the original intent of Grijalva Gardens. It was recorded in 1974. It has 163 lots. Currently, 158 lots are R1 2 are R2 and 3 are R3. 2 lots are commercial and 10 lots are vacant. Property owners within 200 feet of the property were notified of the request, and staff did not receive any correspondence either in support of or against the request. This is site plan showing the duplex, a single building with 2 units, the duplex being 3,304 square feet in size. Again, in summary, the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from R1 to R2 to allow for a duplex. With that, staff can answer any questions.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 15, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Track 16-A, Track 16-B, Track 16-C, and Track 16-D, Block 7, Socorro Grant, located at 9977 and 9987 Alameda Avenue, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to C2 General Commercial to allow for a parking lot and future shopping center. It is 6:30 p.m. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak on this item? As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:31 p.m. Item number 16, second reading and adoption for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Track 16A, Track 16B, and Track 16C and Track 16D, Block 7, Socorro Grant, located at 9977 and 9987 Alameda Avenue, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential and C1 Light Commercial to C2 General Commercial to allow for a parking lot and future shopping center.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. Property owner at this request is Edmundo Rubio. The current zoning is R1 and C1. The lot is 0.47 acres in size, 19,471 square feet. The current land use is vacant, and the future land use map projects mixed use of land use for this area. In summary, the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from C1 and R1 to C2 to allow for a shopping center and parking lot. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the request. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted for approval at their August 20th meeting. This is located on Alameda, just north of the intersection of Alameda and Moon Road. It is surrounded by a mix of zoning districts to the east and south, to the east, R1, to the south and north, C2, and then across Alameda and to the rear, there is also RM2, which is a mobile home park. The future land use map shows the area's mixed use. These photographs are taken from Alameda and show the vacant lot and some temporary shade structures. The aerial shows the vacant lot, the mobile homes to the top of the photograph, and across the street, Alameda, the commercial businesses to the north and south. Notifications were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property, and no notices were received either in support or against the request. And this is the site plan that was submitted. The retail shopping strip is 30,000 square feet, providing ample parking and a ponding area to the rear. In summary, the request is to allow for a rezoning from R1 and C1 to C2 to allow for a parking lot and shopping strip. With that, staff can answer any questions.
I have a question.
Mr. Cruz?
Is the representative for this development here? Yeah.
And I apologize, it was 3,000 square feet.
3,000 square
For the-
feet.
the
Yeah,
size of the shop.
30, kind of. I just wanted to make a comment. Right now, to access the current small shopping strip that's there, it's a rather old one. People are having to wait at the light to make a U-turn if they want. You might want to consider coordinating something with TxDOT. I know they've done it for other businesses in the past, especially the smaller ones. Because like the bigger businesses, they tend to get the both in and out traffic from both traffic traveling east and west. But for the smaller ones, they don't tend to give them that. And so what ends up happening in the end is the smaller business suffers because they only get the traffic traveling westbound. But I know in the past, they've coordinated with the small business owners to allow for an entryway for you all to access. And I think that with the new development that you're going to want to build there, it would also provide access to the older shopping center there. That way you guys can feed off of that traffic. But you might want to consider coordinating that with TxDOT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's all I wanted to say.
Any other questions? Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anybody else has any questions?
No. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 17, public hearing for the proposed conditional use permit to allow for a paddle ball tennis facility in the C2 General Commercial Zoning District on Lot 1, Block 16, East Lake Valley, Unit 2 subdivision, located at 10081 Judge Coldwell Drive, Socorro, Texas. Public hearing is now open at 6:36 p.m.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item? Okay, as there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:36 p.m. Item number 18, second reading and adoption for the proposed conditional use permit to allow for a paddleball tennis facility in a C2 General Commercial Zoning District on Lot 1, Block 16, East Lake Valley, Unit 2 subdivision located at 10081 Judge Coldwell Drive, Socorro, Texas.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item is a conditional use permit request to allow for a paddleball tennis court in a C2 General Commercial Zoning District. This would be at the location of 10081 Judge Coldwell Drive. The owner and representative, MRF Investment Group LLC, is present to answer any questions that you might have after the presentation. The lot is 1.844 acres in size, which is roughly 80,000 square feet. The zoning is C2, and the current land use is vacant. Future land use for the area recommends medium density residential, but this was rezoned to C2 in May 16th of 2019. In summary, the request is to approve a conditional use permit to allow for a paddleball tennis facility in a C2 General Commercial Zoning District. Planning and zoning staff recommended approval of the conditional use permit, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted for approval at their August 20th meeting. This is located on Judge Caldwell and Green Valley Drive. As I mentioned previously, zoned C2, the property across Judge Caldwell is a planned unit development, and the remainder of the property surrounding the applicant property is C2 to the north and R2. These are photographs taken from Judge Caldwell. The one on top is from Judge Caldwell. The one on the bottom is from Green Valley Drive. It showed the vacant lot, and you can see the vacant lot as well. On the aerial photograph, the vacant land across Judge Caldwell, currently zoned, again, planned unit development, and the residential development surrounding the applicant property. The future land use map shows the area as residential. Property owners within 200 feet of the property were notified of the rezoning request. Staff did receive 5 calls in opposition to the request prior to the planning and zoning meeting, and 5 people spoke at the meeting in opposition to the request. They had various concerns. They were concerned about the aesthetics, what this would look like, whether or not it would be an eyesore, the noise, the lighting, whether it would be aimed at their properties, and traffic. And those items were discussed during the meeting, and the applicant can address some of those questions as well after the presentation. The height of the wall for the residents that were abutting the use was brought up. The wall is 6 feet, which is what is required for a commercial use abutting a residential neighborhood. As for the noise, the applicant stated that the research shows that this type of facility, this type of use, reaches the same level of decibels that a public park would reach. And the lighting would be directed to the pedalball courts and not aimed at the properties. There is 15 feet separation between the property abutting them and the actual pedalball courts, and they are lined with trees to help with the noise. And traffic, this is zone C2, so all of the uses that would be allowed outright with C2 would add additional traffic to the area. This is a site plan. The parking along Judge Caldwell is a building for offices, the 9 pedalboard courts. You can see the trees lining the property. And then that top area on the corner, it was identified as an area for children. Play area, they are hoping to make this a family-oriented facility, but I'll let them speak more to the benefits and strengths of the project and the type of amenity it will provide for the residents around the property. Staff recommended approval of the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission, I already said that, I'm repeating myself. They approved the request at their August 20th meeting. In summary, the request is to approve a conditional use permit to allow for a pedalball tennis facility in a C2 general commercial zoning district. With that, staff can answer any questions, and as I mentioned previously, the applicant is here as well.
Mr. Garcia?
I've seen these in other cities. I think they're incredible. And paddleball is the fastest growing sport in the nation here in the United States. I think this is great that they picked Socorro to come, because let me tell you, we're beating out everybody else, including the West Side, for something like this. And for Socorro to have it, it's going to bring in a lot of revenue, and a lot of this sport isn't expensive. It's a paddleboard and a wiffle ball. So I'm glad they're here, and this looks pretty awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, can we have the applicants in the room today? I don't know why, I just felt it was you. No, I'm messing with you, I'm joking. Hey, good evening, how are you?
Good. Jose Garza from Memorial.
There's a market for this stuff in Socorro? Because we ride horses and play football down here, but...
Have you played before?
And baseball. It's very new. So does this get treated similar to any other business? I mean, and what I mean by that are like the sales tax and all that stuff. Is this how we're going to treat it, Ms. Quimito, as well? Yeah? It's a business? Okay, then I'm going to move on to my question. Would you all be opposed if, with the permission of the neighbors there, 2-foot extension to the 6-foot rock wall with material of your choice that's favorable to our city ordinances? Because I believe we can go 2 feet above the rock wall to add an extra barrier, correct?
Yes, the max would be 8.
The max would be 8? Would you all be opposed to something like that if, I mean, just to make the neighbors feel a little bit better about this new development coming in?
Yeah. We wouldn't be opposed, so we discussed that last time. We could also do netting. As we raise the walls, you need a little bit more structure just so they won't fall down. But we were discussing netting such as, you know, when you go into a golfing range, you have high nets. Those are not too expensive, so we could also work with that as well.
Okay, because I'm not familiar with paddleball, and then I can imagine that maybe a ball might go over the yard, and then the people start complaining.
I'm sorry, well, paddleball is really, it doesn't fly. It's like a waffle ball, like a
The wiffle, the plastic?
The wiffle ball, yeah. So it's pretty much bang, bang, bang. I actually play it in my front yard on my driveway, and I set it up, and me and my daughter will go for hours.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the city of El Paso has turned rec centers into it. Ascarte has a paddleball. So to bring this here would be a first of its kind. These are things that happen in San Antonio, where I've been. I think it's called
Pickleball.
something.
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
No, but the restaurant. There's a restaurant all the way around it, and they play pickleball in the middle, and there's like 2-hour waits for it. It's I don't know, it's pickle something. I don't remember what it's called. Chicken and pickle. Chicken and pickle, that's what it's called. It is the coolest thing, and it's outside. Everybody's having a great time, and it's a family atmosphere. And to have it here in Socorro, it is, I'm beside myself, really.
Well, in a year, you won't have to play by yourself up against the garage door.
You could if you built it, against a wall, but it's really cool. And pickleball is like I was telling Mr. Anybody can play, literally, anybody can play. And even, Tom Brady owns a team, there's professional pickleball, it is crazy, but.
So one of the things is that pickleball is very different from tennis because you can start from day one to play. Tennis, you need, training and get a little bit of a hang of it. The other thing is that paddle courts are actually enclosed with glass. So if you hit a ball high up, the likelihood of it falling into a house is less.
And the only reason I asked for that extra barrier, I guess, I want to be good neighbors, right, with our residents, and if that's something maybe you can work out with Ms. Camilo and the planning department. That's all I wanted to see, if you guys were opposed to something like that, or you'd be willing to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ms. Villalobos?
And I'm sorry, yeah, also super excited about it. And I wanted to talk about the, what procedures we have for noise reduction. I thought that was where Mr. Cruz was headed. I'm sorry, can't hear. He was headed towards that, but no, he was talking about the balls. Now I'm talking about noise reduction. So what do you have in place for that?
So we actually got some research. So on the paddle courts, on average, they produce 66 to 68 decibels. And just as a reference, a washing machine produces 70.
Okay.
So it's, it's not that loud. That's excluding people, yelling and having a good time. But if you compare it to a playground, the decibels on a playground from ages 6 to 14, they go all the way to 90. Sometimes they reach over 110. So you could imagine it's, quieter than that.
Thank you for that information.
No, just a comment. Welcome. Thank you.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, just an update on Mr. Reyes. He was called away to work, and so he will be absent the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Item number 19, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 14, Block 8, Alameda Estates, replat subdivision located at 10368 Potencia Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for a multifamily dwelling. It is 6:48 p.m. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item? Okay, as there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:49 PM. Item number 20, second reading and adoption for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's Master Plan and rezoning of Lot 14, Block 8, Alameda Estates replat subdivision located at 10368 Potencia Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for a multi-family dwelling.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. For your consideration, this item is a request for a rezoning from R1 to R2 at 10368 Potencia Drive. The property owner and representative, Lino Carrera, is not present at the meeting today, but he was at the Planning and Zoning meeting. The lot is 13,530 square feet, and there is currently a residential building on the property, and it does have 2 separate units. The future land use map request projects suburban residential for this area. In summary, the request is to approve a rezoning from R1 to R2. Staff recommendation to Planning and Zoning was to approve the request with the condition that the applicant provide as-built drawings of the multifamily dwelling, repair any substandard areas of the dwelling prior to requesting a certificate of occupancy, and submit an application to the Board of Adjustments for the portion of the structure encroaching the rear setback. At the meeting on August the 20th, Planning and Zoning approved the request with staff recommendations, as well as the condition that the structure be limited to a single duplex, so only 2 dwelling units. The property is located at the intersection of Escalante and Potencia Drive. And it's currently zoned R1. Catty corner to the property, there is an R3 zoning, and the area around it is R1. These are photographs taken of the property. The photo on the top is taken from Escalante Drive, and the photo on the bottom is taken from Potencia. So in the photograph on top, you can see where the second access to the dwelling, to the property is, and on the bottom photograph, you can see the entrance to the home from Potencia. And here is an aerial photograph. There is a vacant lot to the south, but the remainder of the area around there is residential. There is a multifamily development not too far away. You can see that at the bottom corner of the aerial. So it is a mix of older homes. The future land use map, again, recommends the area for suburban residential. The original subdivision, a replat for Alameda Acres, was recorded in 1972. And on the aerial, you can see the number of residential lots. I believe that says 169 R2s, 4 lots, and then 3 R3s. There are no commercial lots in the area, but there are 7 vacant lots in the subdivision. Notification was sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property. 3 constituents voiced their opposition to the rezoning request at the Planning and Zoning office. 2 gentlemen spoke at the Planning and Zoning Commission, expressing concern over traffic, the noise, the overall upkeep of the property. And this is the site plan showing where the parking would be located, the building. In summary, the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from R1 to R2 to allow for a multifamily dwelling with all of the requirements placed on the property by staff and the additional condition that it only be that it be limited to a single duplex.
Questions? Ms. Villalobos?
Ms. Camilo, so if I'm looking at this right now, are we trying to do a duplex with the one single home, or it has two properties on there already?
It's one building,
Okay,
and the gentleman purchased it. It had two separate dwelling units, so separated, but not separated. They're only separated with the two different entrances, but not separated with the utilities.
and that's what they're requesting now?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is not allowed as it stands in this zoning district.
Uh-huh.
So they're trying to ask for the change in zoning to allow for the structure. Mind you, they still have to go to the Board of Adjustments to request a variance because it is encroaching on the setbacks.
And this was built in what year was this home?
I don't have the date for when the structure was built. I had posted on a previous slide when the subdivision was recorded.
Mhm. So they're just trying to make it current, do the right thing and make it
Yes.
current? Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mr. Cruz?
So it's a single-family dwelling. It's one residential unit. At one point, a family used to live there. It's separated into, it has two small apartments under one roof. And now they're trying to change the zoning over so that they can add two separate meters, two separate gas lines, and just cut it in half, basically, but keep it one structure.
Yes.
Is the applicant in the room today?
He is not here.
Okay, I'm going to express my concerns as a representative of that area and my community. The dwelling used to be rented out in previous years, and there was several complaints, and I think you've also mentioned that there was 3 people in the neighborhood that spoke up against it, right? The mattresses thrown outside, and what happens is it's not the owner's fault. It's the tenants that they bring in, and there's no property management whatsoever. So what ends up happening is that the residents around that area are the ones that suffer because they've been living there their entire lives. It's an older neighborhood. You even have those people using their trash cans, which is very disrespectful. So when the residents spoke up against it, I had to stick to my guns and say that I would defend it as much as possible. But those are the concerns that they had, and I don't know if they expressed those concerns in the meeting with you all, when you all met.
I'd have to go back to the meeting. Those weren't the ones that stuck out to me, so I wouldn't want to misspeak.
Okay, was there a petition?
No,
Submitted?
no petition.
Okay. And then also, I don't know if you are familiar with the area, right down that same road, there's also like maybe 12 other apartment units.
Are they in this photograph in the bottom corner?
I don't see them in.
Two long strips on the bottom
Yes,
left?
yes, those are some apartments also. So you got quite a bit of traffic through there and quite a bit of people living, and it's high density. So I just wanted to mention that to everyone in the room here today. So I have to say that I wouldn't support this item.
Mr. Garcia?
Do we have a suggestion on what we would ask for instead of this?
There was a motion, there was recommendations by staff.
And what was the recommendation, I'm sorry?
What was
To
the
approve?
recommendation?
To approve the request, but on the condition that they go to the Board of Adjustments to ask for variance for the setbacks as they're encroaching the setbacks.
Is everybody okay with it?
And I'm sorry, since again, he purchased the property, he did not make the addition and convert the property to 2 units, that they provide the as-built drawings. As-built drawings of the multifamily dwelling and repair any substandard areas of the dwelling prior to requesting a certificate of occupancy. So are there additional requirements to improve, assure that they were in compliance and that we could issue them a certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Ms. Villalobos?
I have a couple of questions now that we've talked about this. So when, are they doing this because they want to comply, or they were, code enforcement came in and?
Let me just double check if this was brought to our attention because of a notice of violation or not.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Celoteyo, planner with the City of Socorro. So the applicant did state that he purchased the property. The property came with the attached multifamily dwelling. So he was aware that there was notice of violations. Neighbors were not happy with the tenants. There was a few issues with the tenants. I believe the applicant, the owner, applied or went through the process of evicting the tenants, but the tenants did have were tied to low-income program. So at the time that the tenants moved in, the structure was in compliance, but because of the difficulties, that came with the tenant, there was a bit of destruction of the property. The electrical box, the junction box was damaged as a result of the damages caused by the tenant. And so he came to us to be in compliance with the city as the current existing structure does not comply with the R1 zoning designation permitted uses, which primarily is a single-family residential. And so that's why he came to us to address that issue. But also to be, he's in understanding that he's not going to be adding any additional units. Whatever is being presented on the site plan, whatever is existing, which is what he purchased, is how it's going to stay. The constituents that were present at the P&Z meeting were afraid that he was intending to build more units, but his intent is to remain the same so that he's in compliance with our zoning ordinance.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't done with my question. Thank you for answering that. So what we have here is a new owner. What we had before, it sounds like, was the ex-owner not keeping up with whatever. I don't know if they lived there or they were renting it.
My understanding,
Yes.
based on what the current applicant for the rezoning, he bought the property. The property was family-owned, so the single-family owner built the addition to have the multifamily dwelling for his relative, I think an uncle or an aunt, something like that. So when they moved away and sold, the current applicant came in with the understanding that it had the multifamily dwelling, not knowing that our zoning regulation did not allow it, right? So that's when he started looking for tenants. The tenant, moved in, caused a bit of havoc in the neighborhood, but his current intent is to just comply with our regulations under R2, but not add any more units. And to my understanding, that's what he was proposing to do, not add any more units, comply with R2, which is medium density residential. It allows multifamily dwellings, duplexes, triplexes. So that's the only, that's his only way to be in compliance. Otherwise, he wouldn't be allowed to have a multifamily dwelling. I mean, it would have to be part of the single family home. So he couldn't rent out the other space that is seen on the site plan. If that makes any sense, or if that answers your question.
Well, no, go ahead.
Mr. Cruz?
I think the owner's already in compliance. It's a single-family home. All he has to do is go in there and modify it, rent it out. I don't think anybody's opposed to him renting it out and making money. He wants to make more money and cut it in half and put 2 gas lines, 2 electric boxes so he can rent it out to more people. That's why he has to rezone it. But it's a single-family home. He's already in compliance. That's what I would approve. I wouldn't approve anything else.
Anyone else?
I just want to amend my motion to approve with the staff recommendation.
Just to clarify, To approve with staff recommendation
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
planning and zoning condition that it be,
Yes,
okay,
so
one
Planning
duplex.
zone.
motion to approve with staff recommendation and P and Z recommendation as well.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Nope.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 21, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro Master Plan and rezoning of Lot 12, Block 1, Mary Lou Park subdivision located at 10745 Lydia Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C2 General Commercial to allow for a commercial office. It is 7:04 PM. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this item? Okay, as there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 7:05 PM. Item number 22, second reading and adoption for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's Master Plan and rezoning of Lot 12, Block 1, Mary Lou Park subdivision located at 10745 Lydia Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C2 General Commercial to allow for a commercial office.
Motion to approve with staff and P and Z recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 22 for your consideration is the rezoning at 10745 Lydia Road. The request is to rezone from R1 Single Family Residential to C2 General Commercial to allow for a commercial office. The property owner and representative, Ronald Rodriguez, is present to answer any questions after the presentation. And the property is 9,230 square feet. It is currently a residential building structure. The future land use map recommends suburban residential. Request for approval of a rezoning of the property from R1 to C2 to allow for a commercial office. Planning and zoning staff recommended approval of the rezoning request with the condition that the applicants submit construction documents from a licensed architect or engineer if the current structure is to be remodeled in accordance with Section 116, Design Professional. Planning and zoning approved the request with staff recommendations and adding the condition that the property only be accessed, that access to the property be prohibited from Lydia Road. The property is in between Lydia Road and North Loop, just south of the intersection of North Loop and Horizon Boulevard. The zoning of the properties to the north and east are residential, to the south is commercial, and across the property on North Loop is C2 commercial. This is a photograph. These are photographs of the property. The top photograph is taken from North Loop, and the bottom photograph is taken from Lydia Road. The aerial photograph shows the structure on the property and the residential property to the north and across the street on Lydia. Across the street on North Loop, the land is vacant, and to the south, commercial. This is a copy of the future land use map recommending residential. And we probably should have extended that commercial a little farther south, as that is what the area is transitioning to. The original subdivision, Mary Lou Park, was recorded in October of 1971. It had 114 lots. Currently, 94 of those are R1, 3 of those are R2, and 1 is R3. There are commercial lots within the subdivision along North Loop and Horizon Boulevard, 4 C1s and 12 C2s. There are also 7 vacant lots in the subdivision. Property owners were notified of the request. Property owners within 200 feet. No correspondence was received either in favor or against the rezoning request. And this is the site plan for the proposed office, commercial office. With that, staff can answer any questions, and again, the applicant is present to answer any questions as well.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Yes. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to Human Resources Department, item number 23, discussion and action on approving the amended job description of Recreation Coordinator to Community Liaison Coordinator.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Carol Candelaria here, HR Director. This action is to approve the revised job description from a Recreation Coordinator to the Community Liaison Coordinator, which was approved by Council back on July the 13th of 2024. I'm here to answer any questions. The amendments are attached.
Any questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 24, discussion and action on approving the job description for the Finance Technician.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilor. Carol Candelaria again here. This action is to approve the added position to our, of a finance technician to our finance department. This also was approved by council back in July 13th of 2024. This position has been discussed with the city manager and with her approval. I'm here for any questions if you should have any.
Any questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
I would like to move item 26 before 25, only due to some discussion beforehand.
Is there a second?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Yes. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 26, discussion and action to update the ARPA spending framework for the city of Socorro, Texas.
Motion to approve.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We bring you one more time our ARPA spending framework for the City of Socorro. As you recall, City Council initially approved a spending framework for the City of Socorro's ARPA allocation back in October 28th of 2021. Since then, we have brought this ARPA framework for City Council approval on numerous occasions. At this time, we're requesting your approval on the latest updates to this ARPA spending framework. Just as a reminder, the ARPA funds are allocated to the City of Socorro through the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds. All funds need to adhere to the guidelines set forth in the ARPA Act. And every time we bring this ARPA spending framework, we always try to balance out the budget so that the net increase or decrease is zero. So you will see some increases in some budgets and some decreases as well. The requested updates to the ARPA spending framework include a reduction in funding to ARPA project RCO2 in the amount of $6,416.50, a reduction in ARPA project PZ09 of $427,503 to reflect actual costs, and also to reallocate unused funds in that project to projects that do need the additional funds. We're also increasing ARPA project RC03 by $96,260 to cover personnel costs for the community wellness project through December 2026. We're also asking to increase ARPA project GSP05 by $123,809.51 to cover personnel costs for the Economic Recovery Coordinator through December 2026. We're asking to increase ARPA project PZ06 by $6,187.06 to cover all additional costs for the Rio Vista and Bowie project, and increase ARPA project PZ08 by $110,000 and $289 to cover the purchase of one additional vehicle for the transit vehicle project. And lastly, we're asking for an increase to ARPA project RC07 by $97,374 to cover actual costs of the Rio Vista rehabilitation project. In a lot of these cases, you will see the actual award of funds in items as we move forward through the agenda, and they are related to these changes that we're asking for your approval today.
Any questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 25, discussion and action approving the extension of the job descriptions for the Community Wellness Coordinator and Economic Recovery Coordinator through ARPA funds through December 31st, 2026.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Carol Candelaria here again. This action is to approve the extension of the job descriptions for Community Wellness Coordinator and the Economic Recovery Coordinator through the ARPA funds for the extension through December 31st of 2026. Originally, it was supposed to end on December of 2024. It is now being extended through December of 2026. I'm available for any questions, should you have any at this time.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Item number 27, discussion and action to approve the purchase of one additional mobility transport transit 350 HD high roof with one wheelchair in the amount of $110,289 and obligate funds under ARPA.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We're requesting your approval for the actual purchase of one additional mobility transport transit 350 HD wheelchair accessible vehicle in the amount of $110,289. As you recall, ARPA project PZ08 was allocated $110,289 by City Council on August 1st. We then brought back an item to approve the purchase of that vehicle in that amount. At this time, we're requesting an additional approval for the purchase of a second vehicle. So under ARPA project PZ08, we will be able to cover the cost of two transit vehicles totaling $220,578, which will be covered by ARPA. So that is what the request is for you all today.
Ms. Villalobos?
Alejandra, the life expectancy of these vehicles, are we switching them out every 3 years, every?
No, so we do have to maintain maintenance logs, inspection records, all of those things according to the specifications that are provided by the vendor. They will become part of our fleet, which is also maintained through our maintenance personnel as well. So at the time that they are towards the end of their life, they will have to be either gotten rid of according to the federal guidelines or sold off. Sometimes the federal government does allow you to do that. But we cannot use them past the life expectancy that is described by the vendor.
And that is 2 years, 3 years, mileage?
Don't have that answer for you, but I can bring you that answer back.
Okay.
I apologize.
That would be nice to know.
Yes.
ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have one comment.
Mr. Cruz?
Now that we're gonna begin the, our own transit system, we also need to start looking for funds rather quickly because we don't have a very large transit fleet. These vehicles are gonna go through a lot of wear and tear, and we need to be able to exchange them out. Sun Metro has multiple units that they can change out. It's not the same van or bus traveling through the cities the way we're going to have here in Socorro, so we also need to consider that, because if not, we're going to be going through tires and oil changes like crazy, and we need to be able to swap them out, similar to like the police vehicles. I know Police Chief Rojas does that with his fleet. One runs all night. These guys are running 12-hour shifts. They'll park it, they'll take out another unit. I think we're going to have to kind of do something similar to that. So,
Yeah. Yes, sir. And that's part of some of the options that our transit development plan consultants are looking at. They have expressed all kinds of opportunities that we can take advantage of. So we're excited for that, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we have a good fleet.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 28, discussion and action to approve a partnership agreement between the City of Socorro, Texas and Ayuda, Inc. for the purpose of applying for, and if awarded, completing an Environmental Protection Agency Community Change Grant, CCG, and authorize the city manager to negotiate and sign the partnership agreement.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We are requesting your approval for this partnership agreement with Ayuda, Inc. This is specifically so that we can take advantage of the EPA's new Environmental and Climate Justice Community Change Grants Program. That's a huge name, so we just like to call it Community Change Grants. This notice of funding opportunity has been announced. Funds are available to benefit disadvantaged communities through projects that reduce pollution, increase community climate resiliency, and build community capacity to address environmental and climate justice challenges. In order for the City of Socorro to take advantage of these funds, we do have to form a partnership with a community-based organization. There are very specific definitions that we need to follow, and Ayuda is one of those entities that is designated as a community-based nonprofit organization. So we are asking for your approval so that we can form that partnership between the City of Socorro and Ayuda and be able to submit the grant. Ayuda will be acting as a lead applicant, and Socorro will be acting as a statutory partner. Ayuda also needs to partner with a local government in order to submit their grant. But there are multiple partners for this project. Some of the partners include the City of San Elizario, UTEP, Familias Triunfadoras, and several other potential partners as we get ready to submit this grant application. There is no match requirement for this grant, and we are requesting $20 million in funding. This is an exciting opportunity that's going to help us tackle a lot of our goals as we have adopted in our new strategic plan, including developing additional urban trail miles, tree canopy coverage, bike share programs, and energy efficient home conversions for low-income households here in Socorro and San Elizario.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 29, discussion and action to approve supplemental agreement number 4 for work authorization number 3 for the Sparks Arroyo Drainage Improvement Project under contract number 22-07-01 with Camacho Hernandez and Associates, LLC. This supplemental will result in a net increase of $15,670.06 to the maximum amount payable for work authorization number 3.
Motion to approve.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We're requesting your approval for this supplemental for the Sparks Arroyo Drainage Improvement Project. This supplemental is necessary in order to modify Exhibit D1 for subconsultant Cobb Fendley. That will allow us to complete additional surveying work on the Onion Creek Basin so that we can do some surveying and identify what the current conditions are in the basin so that they can do earthworks according to existing conditions. That is an increase of $15,670.06. Mr. Cruz, you did ask last time for us to look into whether we needed to bring back these supplementals back to City Council over and over again. We have posed that question to legal, and we're pending a response on that.
Any other questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 30, discussion and action to approve supplemental agreement number 5 for work authorization number 2 for the Nuevo Hueco Tanks Extension Project under contract number 22-07-01 with Camacho Hernandez and Associates LLC. This supplemental will result in a net increase of $94,665.85 to the maximum amount payable for work authorization number 2.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. This is another request for approval for a supplemental agreement, this time for the Nuevo Hueco Tanks Extension Project. This supplemental agreement will result in a net increase of $94,665 with 85 cents to the contract amount. This work is needed in order to complete additional topographic survey and subsurface underground utility needed for the project in order to identify conditions at the project site. This project is already at, I believe, 60% design, almost 60% design. So this work is needed to get that through to the 90% design, and we're getting close to actually moving it into the construction phase.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to Recreational Centers Department, item number 31, discussion and action to approve the city manager or her designee to purchase an ADA modified vehicle using 5310 funds in the amount of $85,226.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Isabella Perez, and I serve as the Recreation Leader for the City of Socorro. I am here today presenting on behalf of Mr. Victor Reta, our Public Affairs Department Director, who is currently attending a conference. I am here to request your approval for the purchase of a new ADA-compliant paratransit vehicle for the city's 5310 transit program. This agenda item seeks approval for the purchase of an ADA-compliant paratransit vehicle that will be added to the city's existing fleet. This vehicle will provide direct access for our mobility-impaired residents, ensuring that they have a safe and reliable transportation to essential services, including medical appointments and daily activities. I am pleased to inform you that this purchase will be funded entirely through the 5310 grant funds, meaning there are no direct costs to the city. We have been fortunate to receive multiple 5310 grants, and this success is due to the tremendous talents of our grants department. Additionally, Mr. Reta extends the success of our transit program to our counterparts in city development, led by Ms. Alejandra Valadez, whose collaboration has been instrumental in expanding these services. The vendor for this vehicle is part of the Board Purchasing Cooperative, ensuring full compliance with the City of Socorro's finance policies and procurement processes. This guarantees transparency, cost-effectiveness, and adherence to state guidelines. The vehicle will also play a crucial role in connecting senior citizens and residents with disabilities to the services offered at the Rio Vista Community Center. The center houses critical resources including wellness programs, social services, and recreational activities tailored for our community's seniors and mobility-impaired members. In addition to this request, I would like to share with you all a few photos of these services in action, demonstrating the importance of this new vehicle in enhancing access for our residents. As you can see, we have our seniors there. They recently went to the Area Agency of Aging Convention, so that's them there. I don't know if you all saw this video on Instagram, but this is part of our Rio Vista Olympics, which is a quality of life activity that we like to do with them. And as you could see, they're very good sports with what we do. Okay. And then some more photos. Thank you for your consideration of this request. I am happy to answer any questions that you all may have. I respectfully ask for the council's approval to move forward with this purchase, which will greatly benefit our community and support our ongoing mission to serve all residents with equal access to essential services.
Mr. Garcia?
Just a comment, you know, this is amazing, and like Mr. Cruz said, we're moving into our transportation, and a lot of people don't know that we've been doing this for the past decade. And we do qualify for 5310, which is very grant-oriented, and the city of Socorro has done this for a long time, and it's great for our seniors now, and hopefully move into our citizens. Thank you.
I have one more question.
Mr. Cruz?
So just for everybody's situational awareness, the vehicles that we're purchasing are not only for the Parks and Recreation Department, it's also for transportation of the public from point A to point B, correct?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Thank you.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 32, discussion and action to approve the city manager or her designee to enter into an agreement with Skyridge LLC in the amount of $755,937 for construction of the Bracero Museum at the Rio Vista campus.
Motion to approve.
Second, I'm actually have a motion. So you can retract your motion.
I'll retract my motion.
Let me make a motion, I want to make another motion to approve the agreement with Skyridge LCC for construction of the Rio Vista Bracero Museum with $431,124.40 is being obligated through ARPA RC07 and $476,000 through the Mellon Foundation.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Isabella Perez once again coming to you as the Historical Landmark Commission Secretary this time. I am here on behalf of Mr. Victor Reta, our Historic Preservation Officer. It is a true honor to be able to present this agenda item to you as it marks a significant milestone in our city's history, the very first major rehabilitation project, the Rio Vista Capital Project. We are incredibly proud to have reached this point. I am thrilled to announce that the Rio Vista Campus Plan has received a state award recognizing our planning and construction efforts, especially in historic preservation. I would like to acknowledge the invaluable contributions of City Planner, Ms. Lorraine Quirimo, and City Development Director Alejandra Valadez, whose leadership has been instrumental in achieving this success. The purpose of this agenda item is to award a construction contract to Skyridge for the rehabilitation of a building within the Rio Vista campus, which will become the Bracero Museum. We are excited to take this important step in preserving and honoring our city's rich history. Today, Vance Kelly, our architect and engineer liaison from Generate Shell, who has joined us via Zoom, will present the technical components and provide insights into the design and rehabilitation plans for the project. His participation has been from the very inception of this capital project, and he has provided the city with clear plans and support as we started contract negotiations. This project will ensure alignment with our historic preservation goals while also addressing the needs of our community. We respectfully ask for your support in awarding the construction contract to Skyridge for this historic rehabilitation project with the insights from Vance Kelly and Alejandra Valadez. We hope to address any questions you may have. We are excited to move forward and create a lasting legacy for our community through this campus. We also have some mock-up renderings available for you all to see. And as mentioned, Mr. Vance Kelly is on the line for any additional questions.
Questions? Was he going to present something?
I believe he was here on any question that you may.
Just questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 33, discussion and action to ratify the approval of the TABC permit to allow for the Dusty Tap and Wind Down to sell alcohol at the upcoming Harvest Festival on September 21st, 2024, from 5 to 10 at 901 North Rio Vista.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Isabella Perez once again, presenting on the behalf of Mr. Reta, our Recreation Director. I'm here to request approval for the sale of alcohol at our upcoming Harvest Festival. This agenda item seeks approval from the council for the sale of alcohol at the city's Harvest Festival taking place September 21st. The reason for this late request is that our original vendor unfortunately canceled and we needed to find a replacement vendor on such short notice. I am happy to announce that we have secured a local vendor, the Dusty Tap, who is part of our historical mission trail. Supporting local businesses is a priority to Mr. Reta and the Recreation Department, and we are excited to have the Dusty Tap on board for this event. We are asking the council to ratify this request because the internal processing times required by the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, better known as TABC, did not align with our scheduled council meetings. The TABC requires a minimum of 5 working days to process alcohol permits, and while the Dusty Tap has complied with all other requirements, we needed to expedite approval to meet the permit timeline. The Harvest Festival is an annual event designed to support our local farmers and bring a variety of goods and services to the community. This year, we are focusing on showcasing local produce and businesses while creating an engaging experience for residents and visitors alike. The addition of alcohol sales will complement the festival atmosphere and help generate additional revenue for local vendors. Thank you for considering this request, and I'm available to answer any questions that you all may have. I respectfully ask for the council's approval to authorize alcohol sales at the Harvest Festival, ensuring we support both success of the event and our commitment to local business partnerships.
Any questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Police Department, item number 34, discussion and action to approve the interlocal agreement between the City of Socorro and the City of El Paso for animal services and authorize city manager or her designee to execute the agreement.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Robert Rojas, Chief of Police of the City of Socorro. I'm here to present we're asking for approval for the renewal of the interlocal agreement with the City of El Paso for animal services. This agreement outlines the terms for the City of El Paso to provide animal shelter, control, and related services to Socorro. The new agreement is set to begin as soon as we sign it and extends through August 31st, 2025, with an automatic renewal unless otherwise terminated. And just for background, this hasn't been changed since 2017, and it just continued to renew and came forward with some obvious changes because it hadn't changed since 2017. So we're just asking for approval for this city manager to go ahead and sign it. And then also with the option of her to be able to work on a cap for certain types of intakes.
Questions? Ms. Villalobos?
Chief Rojas, I'm concerned about the amount that it says here, the fee. It's 110 per dog or cat and 27 daily. This is the excess that we're not able to hold here? Is that how this is going to work?
Yes, so typically that's exactly how it works. Animal control tries to foster out animals here in the community. They try to find different foster homes, they try to find different residents. We have been willing to transport to other fosters that are throughout the county of El Paso. However, we're very limited in what we can do, right? And the city, unfortunately, is our only option at this point to house those. And they also help with the any kind of rabies where they have to quarantine. Anytime that we have a sick or injured animal, we use them as well. And those are the charges. And unfortunately, that's the only animal shelter that we have available to us. And then, of course, we're limited here in the city with our space and what we can do.
Mayor.
Ms. Villalobos?
Does this change in any way? I know we get phone calls every day, and we get calls all the time to pick up stray animals, and we can't. Does this alleviate that situation?
So we try to do our best, is the best way to answer your question. Anytime that we get those calls about stray animals or aggressive canines, we prioritize in the way that the call comes out. We always send out animal control to kind of determine what we can or can't do. We try to determine an owner. Typically, they are owned. Although they are called strays, there's usually somebody who's feeding them and somebody who's caring for them, and we try to get them into being a responsible owner by either getting those animals microchipped, even getting them some food, some kind of ramp up so that they can kind of take on those canines or felines for us. So it does kind of, I mean, we have to be conscientious of how many animals we're impounding because of the price. But we're already doing that even without the price adjustment.
So do we know how much we spent yearly?
No, absolutely. The city manager does have that amount. We have amount that is already allocated that can cover this. So this is already budgeted. This isn't something that we're seeking additional funding for. This is something that we already have in budget that we already account for. And we're just mindful of how we use it and how we're using those services. So we try to offset those costs by fostering animals, keeping them here, and you'll see the social media posts, the animal control and Victor's team do a fantastic job trying to get us those fosters out there.
Alrighty then. Thank you, sir, for that information.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor.
Mr. Cruz?
Chief, I think it's important to let the public know that although they see a big number here, it's a lot cheaper than the city of Socorro entering and creating their own animal shelter because it's very expensive. You have to hire people to take care of the animals. You don't know what's wrong with the animals. There's diseases that come with that. There's vaccinations, and then who knows how long we gotta feed and water the animals here and caretake them. It's just a lot of work involved in it. And it's a whole lot more than what you're seeing here on paper right now.
No, you're absolutely correct, Mr. Cruz. And we get those invoices for some of those animals, and some of those animals can spend up to 100 days in the shelter. So that would mean that we would have to care for those animals 100, 120, even closer to a year. And that's unfortunately what the city has to kind of deal with. And then, of course, it does have cost as far as maintenance of the building, creating a building, being of standards of the building, and then having that staff to be able to do it. I mean, the reason that the city of El Paso, I would assume the reason the city of El Paso is the only entity that's doing it is because of the cost and the need, right? The county has tried, and I think that might be part of their next their bond. But again, that's still 2, 3, 4 years out. And even when I was at the county, that was one of the biggest things that the sheriff wanted to do. And it's just very hard to get moving and to get ramped up. So you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's a great idea, but it'd be far more expensive for us to do this on our own.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares? Yes. Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lopez?
Yes.
Item number 35, discussion and action to approve the purchase of GTR 8000 and APX 8500 communications equipment using Operation Stone Garden grant funds in the amount of $96,459.27.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Chief Robert C. Rojas, Chief of Police for the City of Socorro again. This is some additional funding that was just filtered down to us. We, as I mentioned in previous board meetings or council meetings, that we've really reestablished our contacts with the federal government and different entities that have grants available to them. This is something that the people in charge of Operation Stone Garden here locally came to us and asked us if we had certain projects that we had a need for funding. So we actually had this one ready. This is phase 1 of our radio improvement project, and they're willing to fund it with Operation Stone Guard funds. Those funds there's no match, there's no cost to us. What those funds and how those funds are getting filtered to us is that other agencies are not using them. So they were allocated originally to different agencies, whether that be El Paso PD. I don't know in this case, El Paso PD, Anthony PD, whatever other agency, and they're filtering it down to us so that we can start our phase 1 project of our radio improvements. And this would pay for a couple base stations that are absolutely needed in our dispatch center, and currently we do not have. And then in addition, it has a repeater and an antenna. And this would substantially increase our ability to communicate with our officers out in the field.
Ms. Villalobos?
So
When Chief Burton was here, I know that we approved a lot of this equipment. Is it compatible?
So this is also kind of ties into the next item, but I'll answer your question. So that's my ultimate goal, is to be compatible. We want to be on a platform where where we can speak in a mass tragedy. We're talking Walmart style response, right? Currently we are siloed, right? And no disrespect to what Chief Burton was doing or the previous administration, is that they unfortunately built a silo. So I found that out, and this is going to address us not being in a silo. Our goal is to be able to communicate with a push of a button to every law enforcement agency that's down here in the Lower Valley, to include San Elizario Police Department, the Tribal Police Department, Horizon City, but currently we cannot, right? And that's unfortunately the path that was taken prior to me getting here. This purchase right here puts us back on the platform that the rest of the city and the county regional system are using, which is Motorola. That's just the route that the city and county have decided to take. Why that is and why that decision was made, I don't know, but I can tell you that it's kind of going back to the model of phone, right? So you have an Android and you have a iPhone. They can communicate together, however, you don't get the functionality of Android to Android or iPhone to iPhone, and that's kind of what we're facing right now. So getting back on that Motorola platform will allow us that interoperability, the ability to receive and transmit at a better rate, and be able to communicate with our different agencies that are in the area.
So what do we do with the new equipment that we do have now? What are we going to do with that? Can we still use it?
Absolutely. So that's a great question, right? So what we're doing is we're making sure that we're doing it in phases, right? Because much of this equipment was bought on grants, and Alejandra made a comment about the way that you dispose of grant property is that has to be done in a certain way. And it can't just be, the government or these grant entities would look down at us if we're buying everything and then all of a sudden next year we move on and we're not using that, right? So that's not responsible. So we're making sure that we're able to transition in and through into the new group. It's not a complete replacement, and honestly, this technology is so expensive that we're not able to do that. But in addition to that, we also have, and we can repurpose much of that towards the end of the life to public works, to even maybe the transit coordinators, so that they can communicate using that type of system, right? So that's really what the plans are, is to be able to reallocate those existing devices as needed throughout the city of Socorro.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Yes. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 36, discussion and action to approve the purchase of 16 Motorola APX 8000 all-band portable model 2.5 police radios in the amount of $131,583.55 through Homeland Security Grant Program funds.
Motion to approve.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Robert Rojas, Chief of Police, City of Socorro. So this is for the approval to purchase 16 Motorola Apex 8000 all-band portable radios in the amount of $131,583.55 through the Homeland Security Grant funds. So previously, we'd actually come, and I think it was one of the first council meetings that I was here at, we had actually asked for the same authorization, but to use a different company, a different brand name. We went ahead, we issued a PO, and we actually started that process. Unfortunately, that vendor was not as responsive as we would have liked. There are certain deliverables that they were not answering, and they were unable to tell us if we were going to be able to communicate with other agencies, if we were not. And come to find out, we were going to have to end up purchasing additional license type software to be able to unlock that feature from those radios. So what we did was we actually took it through legal. Legal went ahead and discussed with them, and then we they agreed with us backing out of the PO, and then we went to the route back to the Motorola platform. This is going back to that conversation that I had just earlier with the purchases that Chief Burton had made. This puts us back on the right platform. This puts us back on radios that are going to be used in this region. Motorola is unfortunately a little bit more expensive, but it kind of is unfortunate that that is the route that the city and the county have gone. But they are a very trusted vendor. Not that the other company is not a trusted vendor. However, it goes back to, I guess you could equate it to families, right? Families have preference of iPhone and Android again, right? And it's easier to communicate when you keep them together, and that's kind of what we're doing with Motorola. It's substantially less amount of radios that we're getting, but we are making sure that when we purchase these radios that they're gonna be turnkey ready to be able to communicate and communicate with the other entities that we need to communicate with.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 37, discussion and action to approve an agreement with PropertyRoom.com for online police auctions and authorize city manager or her designee to execute the agreement.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, Chief Robert Rojas. Again, so bringing this to approve an agreement with PropertyRoom.com, the online police auctions, and authorize the city manager, her designee, to execute the agreement. The Socorro Police Department seeks approval to enter the agreement with PropertyRoom.com, a vendor of the Sourcewell Competitive Purchasing Program, to provide comprehensive online auctions for surplus assets. These services will cover the auction of property and evidence, firearms, vehicles, and equipment. The partnership will help the department eliminate unneeded inventory, reduce storage and handling costs, and deposit all proceeds from the auctioned items into the city's general fund. Additionally, the agreement can be used for other city departments to dispose of unwanted inventory, offering a citywide solution for surplus and asset management. And the reason that we're kind of looking at this is what other agencies are tending to do. Every agency is understaffed, and it requires a substantial amount of work to be able to run an evidence room effectively, and that is one of the most critical portions of the police department. This will allow us to kind of take out the backlog of vehicles, evidence, things that have already been disposed of by the district attorney's office and determine that there's no longer evidentiary value. What we'll do is we'll follow the correct process that's outlined in the CCP, and then determine that these property items are auctionable. They hold the auction, they come pick up the property, they do everything, right? So all we do is we pretty much call them, tell them, hey, we have a bunch of items that you need to pick up. They come in, they inventory, they make sure that they're inventorying correctly, and we have a correct disposition on our side for chain of custody. At that point, it's gone to their location, and what they do is then they run the auction themselves, right? So I know that there's you have other government entities that do run their own auction, but again, it's very time consuming. It requires a lot of meticulous paperwork and different methods. This is really gonna help us be able to clean up our impound lot, be able to clean up our evidence lot and things that we need to kind of dispose of because we just don't have the space anymore. And it really takes out the guesswork. Pretty much everything's very transparent when they run it. We do get a percentage, but again, you're paying for the convenience. You're paying for the convenience as opposed to having to have somebody run it and having to do the auction the correct way, do the postings, and do different things that are required by law.
Questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 38, update and approval to designate Lieutenant John Greer and Sergeant Juan Favela as the primary representatives in Texas Gang Agency Agreement and authorize city manager, her designee, to sign the agreement.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Robert C. Rojas, Chief of Police, City of Socorro. This is just an update. Currently, the people that are mentioned on the agreement are no longer with us. They've either retired, they've retired or gone elsewhere. So this is simply needed to be able to update with our current personnel, our current supervisors in criminal investigations, which is Lieutenant John Greer and then his Sergeant Juan Favela, as the primary representatives of the Texas agency agreement. And this is just so that we can participate in any of the the things outlined in the agreement for us to participate at the tag and then also to contribute to the gang database.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to planning and zoning, item number 39, discussion and action to approve event permit for the Haunted Maze at 10612 Horn Circle and waiver to extend operating hours.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 23 is an event permit for a haunted maze at 612 Horn Circle, and a waiver to extend operating hours. And the event would take place between October the 11th and October 31st on the weekends only. The times that they are requesting are for the Fridays in October to be allowed to stay open until 12 a.m. and on the 31st to be allowed to stay open until 1 a.m. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the request. The location is on Horn Circle, just east of North Loop Drive. The haunted house is being proposed in the orchard, and they will have a parking on the adjacent property. They have already reached out to provide police security and adhered to and will be adhering to all of the requirements of the event permit. With that, staff can answer any questions, and their representative is in the audience as well to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Ms. Villalobos?
The 31st is a Thursday till 1. I'm just concerned about the students in school, but, you know, it's just one day. Just, yeah.
It is just one day. I don't know if they want to address that. This is right across the street from here is, I'm sorry, I don't have a broader picture of the area, but that's a shopping strip to the left. Across from them is a vacant lot and what looks like a storage facility.
Good afternoon. Yes, so we are requesting,
Sir, would you state your name?
oh, I'm sorry. My name is Jerry Castellanos. We are requesting for that 31st, which is Halloween, which is our most busy night of the season. If we could keep it open until 1 a.m. if possible.
Ms. Villalobos?
The reason I mention it is because we do have viewers and we do get phone calls.
Yes,
And just to clarify it here, kind of hear it from the horse's mouth, you know, that it's just one day.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Just Halloween night.
And I'm all for it. Thanks for bringing the event.
Thank you. Oh, yes, and I'm sorry. It's actually October 10th that we would be starting the actual house. I think Ms. Camilo said the 11th.
Sir, would you come up to the mic, please, so everybody can hear you?
No, I think Ms. Camilo had the hours right.
But just to clarify, the application had said weekends, so that means it would be Friday to Sunday, or was you clarifying that it's Thursday?
Yes, so Thursday, it's Thursday through Sunday, but Thursday we would actually start from 6 and end at 10 o'clock.
So, sorry,
Okay, Mr. Garcia?
I'm just here, it does say you start 10:11 on this paper.
And that might have been a typo on part.
No, it's not a typo, it's written, it's handwritten.
No, I'm just going over to the application and yeah, no, it's at 11, sorry.
So 10-11, right?
The application did say 11.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
Because here it says, in
and
somebody's,
the application did say 10.
that's what I'm
October
seeing
11th,
here.
So that was accurate.
Okay.
So it's 10-11?
So it's actually 10/10, but I guess, yeah, October 10th. Yes.
So,
We need to make a motion to change it.
You can amend it.
Yeah, we can amend it.
amend it?
Yeah, you can amend the motion.
Okay, amend the motion, just to make sure, it's, motion to approve, starting 10/10.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion to approve 10.
Any other questions?
What character will you be playing?
Anyone you want.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Hold on, one more thing, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Can you guys move the truck up a little bit, just because people are saying that you guys are on the sidewalk?
Of course, of course,
Okay.
definitely.
I can address that. So the actual owner of the property, we got permission from him. That sidewalk that it's on is part of his property.
Oh, it's in his property?
Sidewalk that belongs to the city is free and clear of the truck.
Ah, okay.
So, I mean, but we can, you guys could.
No, if that sidewalk belongs to the property owner, I mean, I don't see an issue.
Yeah, we were very careful of that because we didn't want to obstruct anybody's.
Oh, okay. I just won't walk through there.
We can move it, like I said.
Nah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 40, discussion and action to award bid 24-09 to Horizon for Phase 4 sidewalks construction in the amount of $626,432.64 and obligate funds through ARPA project PZ09 and award Phase 5 in the amount of $647,572.13 with the funding source to be determined and authorize city manager or her designee to execute the contract.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is in reference to bids for contract number 2409, which the city received 4 contractors' bids. Attaches a bid comparison between the engineer's estimates and the 4 bidders. The 4 bidders were Horizon Construction, Black Stallion, Synergy Project Contractors, and Hawk Construction. Please note that there is a difference of approximately $5,000 between the bid submitted by Synergy Project Contractors, Inc. and our verification. However, this discrepancy does not affect the overall bid. Horizon Construction's bid of $1,274,004.77 is the lowest bid and lowest to best, and is approximately 6.3% lower than the engineer's estimate of $1,360,600. Camacho Hernandez deems all bids to be accurate and correct, with the exception of Synergies, and is recommending awarding this contract to Horizon Construction. With that, staff can answer any questions.
Ms. Villalobos?
Just to clarify, it's 100% funded by the ARPA.
Phase 4 has been identified as ARPA funding. Phase 5 has not been determined. Funding has not been determined.
But we're approving it if.
But we're approving the
Today.
award of the bid.
Okay, but we don't have an amount.
We have an amount of the bid. So the bid that was submitted by Horizon and the one that Camacho Hernandez deemed the recommended awarding the bid to is $1,274,004 with 77 cents. And I believe the backup breaks up the different parts of the project, so Phase 4 and Phase 5.
Okay, so it's both of them for that amount?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it. And we don't have streets or anything like that yet?
Yes, the projects, these sidewalks were identified in a previous council meeting.
Okay, that's right.
And if you would like, we could forward that back to you.
No, I think I have that
Remember.
list.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have one question.
Mr. Cruz?
Ms. Quimero, do the city's procurement policies state that we'll always accept the lowest price technically acceptable? Is that what we go off of all the time, or will there be a company that, like right now, there's a $5,000 difference between the two, we would accept that one, just because based off of work performance and past work performance history, or? I guess in shorter terms, are we always gonna take the
lowest
the
bid.
lowest bidder? Yeah, is that what we go for?
But my understanding that is correct.
Okay.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares. Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to city manager, item number 41, discussion and action on the approval of the interlocal agreement between the city of Socorro and the city of El Paso Health and Environmental Services in the amount of $390,588, and to authorize the city manager or designee to execute contract. Do we have a second?
Second?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Victor Perez, Deputy City Manager. Before you, we have the contract interlocal agreement received by the City of Socorro for health and environmental services that is pending your approval. And of course, this is a yearly contract that we engage in. It is for services such as health-related services such as monkeypox and COVID vaccinations, and then vector services. Please note that there has not been an increase in cost since 2017, so there is an adjustment there. If you have any questions.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia is absent. Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 42, discussion and action to renew and ratify state legislative lobbying services to Forma Group LLC in the amount of $72,000 to provide a valued approach and continued representation for the legislative session, and authorize city manager or designee to sign contract.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, Victor Perez, Deputy City Manager. The City of Socorro seeks to retain the services of a lobbyist to address matters in which the City of Socorro needs professional assistance before the Texas State Legislature, individual legislators, the state of Texas Governor or the Governor of Texas, and other state agencies. State lobbying services will include, but are not limited to, the following: strategizing, assist the lobbying services, assist the city in the development and implementation of its legislative agenda. Of course, that legislative agenda is set by council with council's input. Excuse me. Key proposals and policy positions in partnerships with the state board and local affiliate networks. Propose an annual strategic advocacy and political engagement plan designed to achieve legislative goals and support business objectives. Develop a plan for off-session activities and coordinate with city administration staff. Tracking and reporting, identifying activities and coordinate with city administration staff. Excuse me, that was already repeated. And report on state legislation and legislative proposals that may have an impact on the city. Report activities at a minimum through the following: telephone or weekly updates on pending issues as they arise. A brief weekly written status report during the legislative session for the state office and all local affiliates. A brief monthly written status report not to exceed 3 pages in length. A final written report and in-person presentation at the end of the legislative session for staff and mayor and council. Maintain a roster of delegates and contacts that the lobbyist firm is contacting on the city's behalf. Track priorities and meetings of aligned partner organizations. Organize state lobby registration, compliance and reporting, advocacy. Support the organization with a strong presence in the capital as the eyes and ears of the city of Socorro, Texas, and serving as a day-to-day contact for legislators and other lobbyists on behalf of the city. And so those are some of the things that the lobbying group will be working on. And again, the legislative agenda is driven by council and the urgency and the priorities that you establish.
I'm sorry? Yes. Mr. Garcia?
What was our payment last year for this same services? Was it the same? Just making sure. Thank you.
Did you want to increase it?
No, I'm good.
Any other questions?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Mayor and Council, item number 43, discussion and action to direct staff to begin research for the establishment of the Socorro Economic Development Corporation.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Cruz?
Thank you, Mayor Council. As stated in the summary, this is to promote the economic development within the city of Socorro, Texas, also to create to finance new and expanded business enterprises. So there's two types of EDCs, or Economic Development Corporations, Type A and Type B. As you all know, our sister city up top here, up the hill, Horizon, they've had one established, which is why you see the shopping centers and elaborate businesses that they've been able to bring into their city. And so if Texas were a country, we'd be ranked number 8 in the largest in business here in the world. But we do rank number 1 in the U.S. We're ranked number 1 state for business. And I just have a vision that Socorro needs to bring in unrivaled business opportunities with the population growth, that we need to create jobs and create an economic corridor like no other. So I believe that the EDC will help establish that. But the item here is just for staff to begin research on the establishment. We won't move forward until we have all our ducks in a row and all that. This is just to begin research on that. Thank you.
Questions? Ms. Villalobos?
So I know we approved this, something similar to this, maybe 3-4 years ago. Should we maybe create a board?
There are some steps that need to be taken along the way. And so, yes, part of it is a board that is selected by city council. But again, it depends on what kind of structure you want to develop for the EDC. You have type A, type B, and so I believe, if I remember correctly, type B encompasses A as well, but the structure for the boards may be a little different. So that's something that we need to come back with to council and prepare a presentation on. Certainly, the EDCs are driven by the sales tax, and that sales tax has to be placed before the voters.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 44, discussion and action to direct staff to draft an RFP for trash bin installations on the city right-of-way.
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr.
So-
Cruz?
Thank you. This is an item that we're all familiar with. We've not been able to move forward with it until we send out the RFP for other businesses interested in this opportunity. So that's what's being brought forth here today.
Okay. Ms. Villalobos?
Do we know what the cost is going to be for the city?
No, I believe the last person that came in and presented to council was at no cost.
No cost is what he said.
At no cost to the city, but I believe Jim mentioned that it wouldn't be fair, so he'd have an RFP drafted to offer other businesses the opportunity if they were to come in and offer the same to the city at no cost. So we're just being fair with everyone.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 45, discussion and action to direct staff to perform a cost estimate for the paving of Monte Alto. Should the street not belong to the city, staff will explore options to have the street dedicated.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Council. This item here is, as mentioned, just to perform a cost estimate before any work gets done. I'd have staff come in here and let us know exactly what the the financial impact would be. But if you're not familiar with Monte Alto, it's the road located next to the levee where the restaurant El Crucero is. And it's an unpaved road, but at the same time, I don't know if it's a private roadway. I don't know if it's on the TW, Texas Water Board property. We don't know. So this is just for staff to move forward and start analyzing that area to see and bring back a cost estimate. I'd hate to be the resident having to drive through that muddy road as they've been doing for the past X amount of years. So that's what I'm requesting this evening.
So noted, sir.
Yeah.
Ms. Villalobos?
So this is very familiar to me because we have, I think, 4 that we were able to acquire in my district, I believe, or were in the property lines. I mean, the municipal has changed. So my question is, suggestion is, before we put any effort into it, do we know how many residents live there and if they're all in agreements? Because it cannot be dedicated if there's one person not wanting to.
And that goes back to the research that the staff would have to undertake.
Okay.
To ensure that, again, first of all, who does it belong to, right? And if that's the case, go through the dedication process. And as you well know, as you mentioned, it would have to be in agreement by all of the people that would be affected, because we don't know if they would have to give up some of their right-of-way or some of their property for right-of-way as well. So those are the things that we would look at.
Okay.
Yeah, like on F.E. Jackson, there was a gentleman that didn't want to give up his right-of-way, and he's the only one he's got a big old pothole right there.
Exactly.
So,
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to delete items 46 through 48?
Motion to delete items 46 to 48.
Second.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Meeting adjourns at 8:16 p.m.
Goodbye.